to welcome to the EmpowerMe Hub workshop. It's such a pleasure to have you here. My name is Sharon Bowes, and whether you're joining us live or catching the replay, know this session is a part of a greater mission to help leaders, professionals, and change makers like you lead with clarity, grow with purpose, and live with well-being at the center. It is no longer enough to push harder and do more. Sustainable success requires something deeper: resilience, alignment, and the ability to thrive without burning out. That's what this session is here to help you unlock. We'll dive into practical strategies, real-world insights, and mindset shifts that you can start applying immediately. Today I have with me Mia Frankl and Sasha Elezovski. Mia is a habits coach, an ordinary woman who has stepped into her power. And Sasha is a career coach who helps professionals in their career development. So I'm going to turn it over to you ladies today and take off.
Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Sharon.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Mia Frankl. I am a powerful leader for the everyday woman. You know, the ones of you who have a job and have kids and have big heart dreams to serve and get fulfillment. I'm gifted with love, understanding, comfort, encouragement, and organization together. I hold the space for your spiritual growth, for meaning connection with yourself and to others, and I mobilize you into great big action, but very precise action. It's not about doing a lot of things, it's about doing the right things. Anyway, I'm very excited to be here with you today and to take you through this wonderful slide deck along with the incredible Sasha, who is just a little fireball of energy and expertise. So thanks for joining us. Sasha, over to you to introduce yourself, honey.
Yeah, so Sasha Elezovski, I am a career alchemist. I like to say that because I love to help women turn their careers into gold. I have spent the last 13 years of my corporate career in HR and recruiting. And throughout that time, I've helped countless women, get anywhere between 15 to, 50K salary increases. And I very much enjoy that. But what I enjoy the most is, like Mia says, is, helping women go forward and, take unapologetic and bold action towards what they really, really want. Because unfortunately, corporate is not set up to, for women, especially, mothers. And so I really try to help women learn how to advocate for themselves. So let's get started.
Let's dive into 7 powerful tools to design a life that you love so that you don't have to feel guilty or in competition between your work life ambition and your home life joy. I'm already all fired up and excited.
Yeah. Okay. So are we going to the next slide, Mia?
Let's go to the next slide. I think it's going to be us, our beautiful faces. Perfect. So you guys, take a breath with me. All the way out. Here's the secret. 1, there is no secret. There's no such thing. I had to look for a quote to capture the essence and the context of what we're going to go through. And this quote really hit it on the head for me. There's no such thing as work-life balance. It's all life. The balance has to be within you. You are the leader. You make decisions on how to feel and how to approach the various roles and responsibilities that are pulling through you in your whole life, because your work falls into a part of your life. Next slide, please. Oh, there's our beautiful faces.
What beautiful faces. Should we go ahead and continue?
Yes.
Yeah. Look
Yeah,
at that. Look at Mia.
yeah.
Just an
This is
everyday
what I
woman.
did for my 40th, guys. Okay. So you're here because something in the title called you, to this whole experience and to this particular talk, right? So Sasha and I are going to hold space and break it down for you we're not going to add to your to-do list. We're going to empower your state of being through this presentation. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stressed, and if you want to have, I'm going to call it flow, but that means like going through the day spaciously, intentionally, with productivity, not hustle and not grind. Okay, that's the people we want to talk to in this presentation, and this is the shifts we want to make with you. Next slide.
Okay. And so as we explore some of the tools today, I just want you to think about it's about shifting our perspective, right? So success is not just about balancing work and life, it's about integrating the two in a way that feels right for you. Okay. So we're going to talk about 7 tools today that will help you crush overwhelm, master your day, by getting super, super clear on what matters most and getting rid of the rest, right? Because we can have it all. The thing is, what we harp on and focus on is we want to be 100% at everything, right? And you can't really be 100% at everything, right? You just have to prioritize what matters the most to you.
Mm-hmm.
And, build your schedule or your time or your priorities and your values around that. Okay. We're going to go on to the next slide. So we're going to go, the 7 tools or the 7 steps that we're going to go over today are: 1, assess your current reality. This is where we're going to sort of kind of take an inventory of where you are right now, right? Then we're going to look into the future and help you cast a vision. We're going to be identifying your values. And then based on your values, right, based on your priorities and values, we're going to help you manage your time, so that you can also create daily habits and build sustainable momentum. And then, of course, building something or putting something together needs a whole lot of accountability and community so that you can continue that sustainable momentum. Okay.
Yeah. Each tool leading into the next.
Exactly. Beautiful. I love you, Mia. I love it. Thanks.
Good time. Great. Yeah. The first step, the life wheel. So if you're not familiar with this, it's a fundamental and highly popular coaching tool, and it's very old school, which I love about it. And you don't need somebody necessarily to walk you through it, but it's helpful to run your own self-audit on this based on sort of 8 to 10 different categories. And this particular one is from a website called People Connection, and they spell it with an X in there. And I just love it because it first of all groups into 4 core categories and then subcategories. And it just helps organize your life into boxes, but not constricted boxes, just so that you can really see a full snapshot. And maybe, even some of the ones that you're looking at on this life wheel now are even beyond what you might have thought. If you were to jot down core life categories, maybe you would have only got to 5. So here we have community connection, career or business or fulfillment, wealth, not just finances, but true wealth, freedom in your money and beyond that. Health and wellness, your body, your well-being, friends and family, right? Relationships, marriage or romance, the closer relationship, if that's a part of your life. The self-acceptance and embodiment, your true, anchored, inherent, unshakable worthiness and spirituality. So in this wheel of life, we want to encourage you, if you have pen and paper in front of you, to quickly go through the categories and rate them from 1 to 10. And I want it to be an intuitive response. We're not going to sit here and dawdle and overthink. It's community connection. For me, 10, 100%. Career business fulfillment. For me, 8, 100%. Wealth, 4. I'm not going to hide anything from you guys. That area needs some attention. It's like
if you're a 4 right now.
Forgotten plant in the closet. It's okay. We're not judging, right? And we joke about this because it's meant to be like to engage you into rather than to start to feel constricted and ashamed, right? We want to open to life, and we want to open to creating new life in what's there. So as I'm talking, I hope you're going through and just jotting down what these are. And then you can have a scoring and decide, like, well, community and connection maybe is a 7. Maybe you want to take it to a 10. So then that becomes an area of focus if that feels really good and like something that you need for the stage of life that you're in right now. If you have a low scoring one, then maybe that's where you want to start focusing some attention to raise that score because the other ones are doing better at that point, right? So it's not like there's a precise right or wrong. It's going to be, what are you feeling? What are you feeling pulled towards? And then you take, 3 of those categories, and we can move them through the sets of tools that are in here for us, so that this isn't just you guys watching Sasha and I, although we're very entertaining. This is you actually getting into some of the work of what we have to share with you today. Next slide.
Yeah.
Unless you want to add something.
Yeah. No, I just want to, you did it perfectly. I just wanted to add that, one of my favorite things to do for this audit, sort of taking an inventory is, breaking your week into like blocks, right? Where it's like morning, afternoon, evening. And then each block, I like to label those by like, whether it's energizing, neutral, or draining, right? Based on all of these different areas of my life and relationship, like, spirituality, career, things like that. So, and then I like to reflect, sort of like okay, now I did these like 1 through 10, right? Like, what are the areas that are strong for me? What are the areas, where are the gaps, right? Where are my drivers? And when I say drivers, I mean, and we can go over this in the value exercise, but like, am I doing this because my parents or society want this for me?
Right.
Or am I doing this because I truly want this for myself, right? So we're going to talk a little bit more when we get to the value exercise, but start thinking about that as you're going through, because once you decide, or once you realize what the drivers are, it may be easier to just sift through the noise, right? And focus on what's important.
Yeah. Your self-leadership, your discernment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you bet.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've looked at where we're doing well, where we're not. I'm not going to use the word performing. Let it go. Okay. Now, what do you think or believe, this slide here, what do you think the limits are around more of the things that you want, right? So pictures to illustrate, well, I don't have enough money, so I don't have the time. Or my kids, I love them, but oh my God, they're just constantly after me. Or there's too much going on. I don't know where to start. I can't. I start one thing and it's never the thing, right? It's not the highest needle mover for the day, perhaps. I'm bored. I'm not eating well. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm lonely. I'm sad. Like, these are all different limits that we can start to overcome, that we can start to crack and soften and replace with more empowered and more intentional choices throughout our day. So if you resonate with any of these, take a moment to think, why don't I have this wealth or this community or, better marriage now? What do I believe is in the way What do I believe is in the way? Is it my spouse is always working, my kids don't go to bed, I'm too unfit to even bother to try and get fit, right? And then why? Why do you give power? Why are you drinking that Kool-Aid? Where's the evidence of that? And what other evidence might be possible? What other things have you overcome in your life that show that you do have the ability to overcome hurdles and difficulties? Next slide.
Yeah, and it's funny. Step 2 is casting the vision, and what I was going to start with was, like, as a Virgo, I'm an earth sign, and one thing that we love to do, if you know, you know, is we sometimes worry too much about the future, right? And we're always planning, always setting the foundation, always wanting to, you know, put the seeds, like, you know, plant the seeds for the future, and sometimes even worrying about things that we can't control. But anyway, if you know, you know. But I love, this is one of my favorite parts, right? Because I love to be able to visualize the life that I want, right? And my favorite way to do that is, you know, writing a future letter to myself, like almost like a love letter, like the same kind of letters like we used to write when we were in high school.
Yeah.
To our crushes.
Yeah.
Stories for days. The same kinds of letters that we used to write to our crushes. It's the same kind of letter that I want you all to write for yourself, right? Where do you see yourself? Where do you want yourself, right? Like that love letter in high school used to sound like, you know, I can't wait to walk down the aisle and, you know, have your last name. Well, you know, the same thing goes for this, right? Like, what do you want to see for yourself, right? Some of the questions that you may want to ask as you're writing this letter is, you know, where do you want to be? What does my dream life look like? How do I love spending my time? What do I want to look back on with fulfillment? What am I making my life mean, right? And what 2 or 3 do you want to start with, right? You don't have to focus on, you know, the lower scoring ones or the ones that you feel a little bit uncomfortable with, but this is how you start identifying your values, right? Like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to look? I can tell you right now that in 6 months, I want to be 20 pounds lighter. All right. So for me, this is my goal in 6 months. So like, you know, things like this is what, and we suggest to do something, this kind of exercise, you know, at least twice a year, right? Like, like I usually, like I said, I'm a Virgo, so I'm very regimented and, is that the word? I don't even know if that's the word. Yeah. I'm very structured. So like, you know, in January for New Year's, I'll end up, you know, writing my letter for June, and then for June, for December, how I want to start in the next year, right? So vision activates clarity and emotion, which makes the change magnetic.
Yeah.
Right. If you can't visualize it, you know, it's kind of hard to see where you're going, how you're getting there. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on to the next slide. And so what does that look like for you, right? Like, so think about spirituality, think about wellness, think about, you know, happy clients. Maybe if you're an entrepreneur, think about being an entrepreneur. You know, how do you want to make your clients feel, right? What does time for you look like? I know for me, like I need to get to a point where my Sundays are spent at a spa somewhere, like an all day spa, not just like getting a massage. No, I want to spend the entire day eating from the charcuterie board and having a glass of wine while by a hot tub. Like that's kind of what my Sundays for me look like, right? So happy kids, you know, think about what you want your kids to be like, not what you want them to be, but like, what does that look like for you? Like, for example, I know my daughter is really highly considering taking soccer classes. And so, you know, carving out the time for that stuff, right? To make sure that my kids are happy, right? Leisure, healthy relationships. How do you want to plug in a few more date nights, right? In the month. Friendships. How are you going to, like Mia, how are you and I going to make sure that we have time on the calendar? Well, I can't forget about wealth because right now, like, times are hard and eggs are $20 for a
Yeah.
dozen. I'm exaggerating, but what do you want your bank account to look like? Your retirement accounts, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where do you want to invest? So what about community, family, volunteerism, right? If you feel more fulfilled as a person, if you give back to your community, if that's important to you, how are you going to plug that in, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to move on to the next slide.
Mhm.
Okay.
You can keep going with this one, Sasha. I know this one's big in your
Okay.
heart. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Yes. Identifying your values, right? So so this is an exercise that I like to call the core values alignment, right? Like I said, we want to write down like what's important after you create your vision, and you look at this letter, right? And then you start
Mhm.
highlighting and circling like, wait a minute, it seems like, also here's another thing. As you're writing this letter, pay attention to your body. So
Mhm.
like if your chest is like feeling a little tight, right? Your stomach you're getting butterflies, right? You start to get like a pain in your lower back. Like sometimes like I'm writing stuff, like I'm getting chills right now as I'm talking about this, right?
Mm.
Pay
Mhm.
attention to what part of your body is sounding off because that usually means
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
Think about that too. Like, okay, this thinking about this or talking about this made me feel this way, and start reflecting on why that is, right? Maybe that's important to you. Maybe there's like some trauma associated with it, right?
Mhm.
So definitely something to reflect on. So uh, you want to choose your top 10 values, right? Like I said, going through this letter, highlighting like some of the patterns, like, like where you feel, as you're reading back this letter to yourself, like you're saying, wow, this seems to be very important to me, or maybe I didn't realize how important this was to me, right? And then you're going to choose your top 10 and rate how well each one of these are currently reflected in your life, right? So it's, for example, it's very, very important for you to make sure that your kids get one-on-one attention from you, but that's not
Mhm.
something that is an area that you're struggling with. That may be something that you put in your top 5, right? To prioritize. Um, and so the way you want to identify values is, really identifying what matters most to you, paying attention to your actions in line with your values. So like I said, if you want to spend more time with your children, but everything sort of gets in the way from you getting that one-on-one time, pay attention to that because that's the gap that you want to fix there. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And ask yourself, where am I betraying this value in the name of productivity or people pleasing? Oh my gosh,
Mm.
I can't stress or emphasize enough that people pleasing is definitely something that is very destructive, right?
Mhm.
It's great to make sure that you are, doing your work, doing things at work, or, you know, what comes to mind when I say that is my mother-in-law.
Mhm.
So my former mother-in-law, I used to always want to make sure that she was absolutely happy with me as a
Mhm.
wife, as a person, as a mother to my children. And it took me a long time after my divorce to realize that I just needed to be happy with myself because I feel like I was going above and beyond and burning myself out
Right.
to please a woman that was so hard to please. Because that's the
Mm.
thing, right? We end up
Mhm.
wanting to please people that are so hard to please, and we overcompensate a lot. And that's where a lot of the burnout comes in, right?
Yeah.
So guilt thrives where your actions and values are misaligned. So get back into integrity with yourself, right? That's our core message for this step. So I'm going to go ahead and unless you
Yeah.
wanted to add anything, Mia.
No, the values are your guiding light. And, like you said, Sasha, it lifts the head from looking down to what you're doing to looking up to think about why are you doing that and what's behind you doing that. And then anchoring into something more tangible than just a trigger reaction. And that is the intentionality and the self leadership that's very empowered to really start loving one of my taglines, loving your everyday life every day. And not cliche, like actually deeply satiated and satisfied.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, okay, sounds great, guys. Looks great. But like, how am I going to do this? You'll Google, good old Google. Like, this is not rocket science stuff. And when I say that because I love to joke around and make light of heavy subjects. But Google is a great resource that you can find like a list of, I don't know, 100 values. And then you would look at them and quick circle the ones that resonate. And now you may wean that down to like 10 or 15. And then you can wean that down again and get clear on what clicks for you. And then you can take it a step further with a worksheet like this one, to self-reflect. Like if you don't want to do that exercise, like there's tools is what I'm getting at, right? But it's as Sasha mentioned earlier, where your body's going to respond either with like an expansion feeling or a constriction feeling, and you can use your body to help you with the clues, just like Sasha was saying, around what is really true for you. If you're not sure in the mind, the body will help you answer those questions, right? And so this worksheet helps kind of trigger reactions to lead you towards values. And so the questions here, even for example, like what excites you the most, right? Like I'm motivated by fun. Shocker, not really. What angers me the most is like the injustice and the intentionally mean treatment of others, right? What I find deeply sad and disappointing, kind of connected. When do I feel blissfully happy? Well, my spa is a beach with my family and my best friends and their families. Like that is everything. Or working with a client and cracking their hearts, like that too it's like watching a birth. It's the best. When do you feel the most productive or the most relaxed? So you can start to identify these because they're situations that we've actually lived. We've lived all of these situations. And you can close your eyes and think about that question and go and find that experience, that event, and then it will guide you to a value. And you'll deepen the importance of it because of the memory, right? Because of the feeling associated with it. Yeah. Yeah. Next. Yeah.
You want to take this one? I know you like this one, but let me know.
Okay. So she's a Virgo. I'm a Capricorn. I'm a hardcore Capricorn. Like, obsessed and overgifted with administration and organization. And
Yes.
that doesn't mean I'm perfect at it. It just means that I love lists and timetables and planners and calendars and checklists. And so I'm a habits coach, right? Managing your time, needle moving activities. Okay. So I just want to bring us in. I want to bring everything we've talked about forward with us as we go, because we're adding steps or layers that create the entire picture. We've looked at our status quo. We've now leaned into creating a big life vision. We're now certain of our vision and our values are tied to our vision. Everything is starting to churn together. Now we have to do the work because, that was the easy part, guys. Now we have to actually start living into this machine and regime, okay? And this is where we start to get brain boggled in work life. No, it's a state of being. So how are you going to prioritize your time between life and volunteering and kids and marriage and fulfillment and You're going to work away at it day by day in little groups over time, and things are going to start to drop in and automate, and then they can fall off and other things can come in that start to just become part of who you are and how you show up. And in choosing your activities for the day, we want you to be tied into, is this aligned with my values? Does it move me closer to my vision? If reading in the morning is the time that is going to give you spiritual peace to head into your day, then that's when you do it, because it's moving you closer to your vision of a ambitious and content life, right? Can Sasha, if this version of her could go back and face her ex-mother-in-law
Oh,
and say, no, thank you to her, would she do it? 100%,
yeah.
right? In peace, because saying no in that case is the right aligned action. Or maybe you would say, yes, I will prepare the family supper on such and such date at this time at my house where I can control the environment and, myself and my choices. So with this one, this quote was really beautiful and important. And I'm just going to read it to you, even if you've read it on the slide as I've been talking. Time as a state of being, not as a list of doing. Everyone on the planet has the same amount of time. It's how you steward your time that gets the results. I came up with that. Oh, brilliant.
I love it.
It's so simple. Tony Robbins has the same amount of time as us. Oprah has the same amount of time as us. People that we don't know about that are living their best life ever. It's not something you can buy no matter how much money you have. It's the choices that you make, which is why we spent so much time building that foundation, right? And so time management is really energy and values management in disguise, which that is from Sasha, which is brilliant, right? Then we're not looking at managing a list of to-dos. We're looking at managing a list of to-bes. In order to be a person who loses 20 pounds in 6 months, I will joyfully spend 20 minutes a day stewarding my body with movement of some kind, pressureless. As you move forward in that 6-month timeline, you can increase that body activity, right? As your body fitness improves in order to get to that result. 20 minutes a day. Can we find 20 minutes a day? If you were looking at your screen time usage on your phone, you might be appalled like I am sometimes and want to throw it in a river. We can do this if it really matters to us. And I'll share another quote that I love from a really cheesy movie with The Rock and Selma Hayek and somebody else. And in it, Red, I think it's called Red. Selma Hayek says, you can have results or excuses, but not both. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Heavy dose of personal accountability.
It's funny. It's so funny because I was on a podcast the other day and, they asked me, I forgot what the question they asked, but I said, before I thought about this presentation and I thought about these 3 questions. And that last one, can I say yes without resentment? I realized looking back that every decision, well, not every, but like most decisions that I made in corporate, when I was asked like, hey, can you take on this 20th thing that you can't really take on because you don't have time? I realized that if I had asked myself that very question for most of those instances, that question alone would have I would have said absolutely not. Because, I can't say yes without resentment. With my mother-in-law, I can't say, I always think back to like, dang it, if only I said no, because now she's doing XYZ and she doesn't appreciate it and she doesn't. So if you can say yes without resentment, that's a good sort of like a baseline to determine if you should take it on or not. Anyway, I'm going to go to the next slide.
Yeah, go to the next slide. Yeah. Because one thing I want to lay down here too is in this particular tool, it's not so much the how, it's the pre-work to the how, right? Because now after this, we start looking at building daily habits and that sort of thing. So here we're starting to get organized and taking extreme personal responsibility, because if it's meant to be, it's up to me, sort of. And I want you guys, like, I just love the spin of managing yourself versus
Mm-hmm.
time. And
Mm-hmm.
that just comes with having a bit of a flow, a bit of intentionality. We can be on the next slide, Sasha.
Okay.
Around organizing the day into blocks, like Sasha had mentioned earlier. And this particular routine on this slide, this is my entire life. This has been by far one of the most transformational ways, because I need structure. I need routine. The weekend comes and I'm like a teenager in the wind with no supervision and unlimited Wi-Fi. Like, it's because the routine changes. Because, guys, I have a job with kids in school and a house to run, right? So the routine holds me together, and the flow of the day, exactly shown on this slide, is what holds me together to show up and be the woman who runs her coaching business before going to work, who takes her kid to school, usually on time or time enough, goes to work, serves there for the day, and then comes home and I'm spacious because my sort of outward responsibilities have been dealt with. The way that it used to be was plop.
That was me yesterday.
And it's not to say that that doesn't ever happen, but when I choose to be a woman who works herself through my morning ritual or my morning routine, and then I can focus because I've prepared myself and for me, my faith, my spirituality, to get ready for the day ahead. I've taken care of myself. I've filled my cup, right? That great saying. And I go to work, I smash it there, and then I come home and, like, I'm open to leisure, I'm open to family, I'm open to being with them, because, like, the mornings, I'm not waking my kid up at 6 so I can hang out with her for an extra hour. I'm gonna do that after school, right? We're gonna cook supper together, we're gonna play a game, go to a park, and just really be. And I know I've taken business, and I can put that behind me now. And really, this has been one of the biggest guilt releasing elements, where I don't feel the pressure or the chasing of something, because I've decided and then I've intentionally shown up and it managed myself through the time I have. I wake up at 5. By 5:30, I'm in my office. I'm doing my stuff, about 30 minutes of each, and then I'm free, right? And I'm ready. I've done the work that is going to bring me to the results that I want. So you have a little morning ritual, and if it's journaling, beautiful. If it's reading
Mhm,
a book,
mhm.
beautiful. Just screens, we're on screens so much. I'm on screens all day at work. It's nice to have a little break, but you are in charge of you. Then you come to work ready and focused and feeling light. I feel light when I get to work and ready to really pour in there. I have a great day job. And then again in the evening, oh, I've done well today. And now I can reward myself by being a present mom and spouse, etc.
Yeah, and it's funny because I recently started the Pomodoro technique. Am I saying it
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Where because I'm one of those that if I don't manage myself, I can be on my cell phone for a little bit. Like LinkedIn now has these like games now.
Oh, great.
So there, yeah, the queens and like they have all these fun games to distract you from what you need to be doing, aka looking for a job. And so I find myself like once like the alert comes on, then I go ahead and like I go down a rabbit hole. So I realized that if I put my phone on silent, like no notifications, do not disturb, and I just use the Pomodoro technique, I get a
Mhm.
lot more done.
Yeah.
And sometimes I put on like the YouTube, like there's like meditation kind of
Music.
yeah, like
Mhm.
that really helps
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
if I don't do that, I'm gonna end up and working through the night, and then not having my little calming routine that I like to have to sleep. So anyway, I'm going to go on to the next slide. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's great because it shows, again, like there's no surgical precision way to do this. It's a little bit different for everybody. And there's tools out there that we want to encourage you to experiment with until it clicks. I'm a crazy list person. And so my habits checklist is my like end all be all guiding light to make sure I showed up to be the woman I want to be. Right. And and then I count them up at the end. Pomodoro technique is a great way then to kind of trigger yourself and snap out of it, right? And maybe for somebody else, it's the environment, or maybe it's like even where your phone gets plugged in. Maybe it's not right beside your bed so that you are so easy to grab it in the morning. Our coffee's downstairs, 2-story, so we go downstairs, get the coffee. I like get to move my body, and then I usually do a little bit of puttering just to sort of wake up the body and mind. So this is the thing. There's these 6 steps in these slides I really love because they just kind of help create I guess a flow from one to the other, but then how you build that flow in each is has to be custom to who you are. And Sasha or I can help you figure that part out. So then on the next slide, we just offer a few more around managing yourself and not time. And I'd love to see how people will react, especially to 6. So managing yourself, not time, being organized. I hope that is a thread in here, because being organized, 1, gives clarity, 2, builds automation, right? If you know what's on for the day and are intentional with how you're showing up, it just starts to become who you are. And then those things can fall off of, say, a daily checklist. And it just becomes like maybe Sasha will no longer need Pomodoro when she goes onto LinkedIn because it's just become part of who she is. Now it's imprinted as a result of having done it, right? That's the automation. And there's some things in life throughout the day that are already automated that might be less result driving that we want to replace, right? So we get a little bit organized with that. As you've seen us building, it starts to create that automation, reducing decision making. The best. Another great energetic freedom, reducing decision making. No dawdling and humming and hawing over what to do. It's so beautiful. And then this is the one I was, forecasting towards and teasing, is the carryover. Guys, there's some stuff that you can just leave until tomorrow. I don't know if you've heard it, probably, but like that's a tomorrow problem. That's a next week problem. Like time for everything, but not all at the same time. So the laundry is a big one in my life. The laundry is always tomorrow. It's washed, it's not in the dryer, but it is not getting folded as soon as it comes out because I want to do something else, and that's okay. And there's other like emails at work, perhaps. Certain projects can only get so far in a day because the office is full of interruptions. So building safety and allowing things to maybe end by the end of the week or on the Monday after the weekend, but allowing for a bit of carryover is very spacious and allows you to stay in alignment with your values.
Mia, I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm looking over my laundry basket that I washed like maybe 3 days ago. If it's a week, I might be, I don't know, I'm afraid to say a week, but like it might have been there for a week now. So I'm glad that you say that, because I think a lot of times, there's the saying growing up, don't leave for tomorrow what you could do today.
Yeah.
I think that's a big like hustle culture driver, because my mom always said that to me, and I felt like I had to get everything done. And if I didn't like cross things off my list, I felt like a failure. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's absolutely okay to say, you know what? This is not important. That basket can get done when it gets done. Or maybe I just live out of it for the next 2 weeks. I don't
Thank
know.
you. Yes. Because it's like it goes in and out and in and out and in and out. And in the end, you just need to have access to it.
Exactly. So, some things,
To step deeper and get really deep with you guys for a sec. That idea that if the laundry's put away, I am a good mom, a good housewife, a good person. No, that is a worthiness wound, right? That sense of perfection or completion is trying to fill a void that can't be filled. The void is, how much do you really love and accept the imperfectly wonderful human that you are? And when you fill that up with, the foundations that we're laying here, then you start to not care because it's not in alignment with your future vision or your values around whether or not the laundry's folded and put away. Leave the dishes in the sink, or get your kids to help out. Like, it's not all on you. That's the whole point.
Yeah. No, I get that. And yeah, I'm guilty of leaving dishes in the sink and washing it in the morning for breakfast. There's other things that just took priority, and that's okay. I'm not a bad person because of it.
Right. That's right.
All right. So do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
So now we're going to make it real, right? I love the way Mia puts this, not a to-do list, but a to-be list. And from now on, that's going to be what I use, right? So everything, whatever seeds you plant today, right, will help you move the needle for, a future, something that you want in the future, right? So if you want to be peaceful, right, then maybe you want to focus on soul care, for example. If you want to be happy, you maybe want to have fun. Maybe I want to have a margarita on a Sunday, and no, you don't need alcohol or anything like that. But maybe I just need to unwind, right? And, kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Unwind pretty much from, your 9 to 5 job, right? On a Friday. If you want to be fulfilled, you want to find the meaning, right? Do all these value assessments for yourself, right? To see, okay, what is going to make me feel fulfilled? What is going to make me happier? Is it more time with my kids? Is it, more money? And that's okay too.
Yes.
Is it more money? Is it, a higher title at work, right? If you want to feel rested, and let me tell you, you're not going to feel rested by burning yourself out, by, making sure that you absolutely have that laundry basket put away every single time, right? It's going to be, you're going to feel rested once you take an inventory of what's important to you and prioritize that, right? You can't do everything. You can't yes, you are superwoman no matter what, right? But there's going to be some things that, will have to be done at another time so that you can focus on what you really, really love, right? And ambitious, I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this, because sometimes ambitious means overachieving, like myself, and overachieving has driven me to burnout many, many times in my life. But if you want to be a fulfilled ambitious, you want to take action from intention, right? Be very, very intentional with each action you take. So we're going to speed things up a little bit because, we're a little short on time. But I hope this resonates with everyone. Did you want to add anything, Mia? Or you want to get on to the next slide?
Yep.
Okay.
So habits, right when we get to the topic, I love the most. It all comes to this. But you can see here is the how. Here is the application of where we're really putting it into the becoming process, right? So an easy place to start and to play with all of this is to pick one habit and smash it for 7 days. And don't judge yourself if you don't. And if 7 days isn't going to work out, then 7 times, and see, watch yourself and how long it takes you to do it 7 times. track the dates that you do it. Because what this does is gives you self-auditing. Okay, this is great. I watched Mia and Sasha and they were awesome and I feel empowered and I'm ready to go. And then life happens and you fail. And then you judge and then you shrink and hold back again. So, or you think, oh, this is great. I love that presentation and now I'm going to go do it. But you're not tracking it. And all of a sudden you're like, why didn't I get the results? Well, you didn't actually do the actions because you weren't watching yourself to make sure that you did them. Okay, so this 5-minute frequency shift says just choose one 5-minute daily habit that is in that future self letter and commit to it for 7 days. Or like I said, watch yourself how long it takes you to do it 7 times. This 5-minute of mindful breathing, this is amazing. And I would highly encourage you to start here during the workday. You set an alarm on your phone. It's going to say 5-minute breathing break. Then you can set a timer and at your desk, close your eyes and breathe. And if that feels too vulnerable, then go to the break room or outside or a private corner somewhere. But that rest and restoration during the workday that can get very hustle is such a spiritual fulfillment, right? If it's in the morning, writing your to-do list with intention, what actually matters today, not the 700 billion things that you could come up with needing to do today. And this beautiful no practice, and the boss says, can you turn this around for me by end of day? And it's already the end of the day. No, but I will do it first thing tomorrow morning, right? Something like that. Because the momentum builds when we prove to ourselves that we can follow through. You're creating your own evidence. That is the transformation, okay? Momentum builds when we prove to ourselves we can follow through even in small ways. Okay, so how do we change? One habit at a time. It's entirely up to you. And again, if you look at your life wheel, what's that going to be? It's not to overwhelm yourself and now have 20 habits that you need to smash every day. Maybe that's your gold medal in your future vision. But right now, we want to start building the encouraged evidence of being able to do something. And, these 3 core categories will support the overall picture. Your physical well-being, taking care of your body, means that you have more energy, right? And more mental clarity. Your mental health, that breathing break, reduces cortisol, regulates the nervous system, creates more sense of peace and calm. And your emotional well-being just makes you a nicer person to be around. You're not snapping, you're not short, you're not frazzled all the time or knee-jerk reacting to things, right? So just some suggestions of themes to start building habits around. And then yeah, go for it. Yeah, take it.
Okay. So, as Mia beautifully put together, you want to make sure that you are setting the daily habits, right? So that you can get yourself organized and really focus. Choose the 3 absolute must areas, of life to work on each day. So if, going back to the last slide, right? The emotional well-being, the physical well-being, right? Those are some of the places that you may want to start at, right? Now you want to identify 3 actions for each, right? So think of it like a rubric, right? We probably should have done like a little rubric or something like a 9 total actions, right? So 3, oh, I love that. 3, 3, 3, like 3 actions for the 3. Oh, that's really nice. 3 actions for the 3 absolute must areas. So 9 total actions for daily habit building. And it sounds like a lot. It really does. It sounds like, oh my God, 9 actions, but just make them small actions that will move the needle for you, right? Mia, did you want to add anything to the slide? Because I know this is a big one for you, but
if we look at, you don't have to change it, but if we say physical well-being, 3 actions: water, walk, rest. Bedtime by 10, say, is the rest piece. That's your 3 actions for the day. Then the next 3, mental health. Reading, 10 minutes. Journaling, 10 minutes. Screaming into a pillow to release stress and emotion. Purge that out of your body. Another 3 actions, right? Emotional well-being, joyful activity, creative outlet, screen-free time, right? So this is where it's micro shifts that aren't adding to your to-do list, but are building your capacity to be your best self.
Yep.
And then we track it all on the next slide. And you're thinking you're smashing it. But if someone were watching you and then we're going to tell you everything that you did that day, you might be shocked that it's like not actually what you thought, right? Because we all think we're better than we are, which is not a bad thing. But the self-accountability to really make sure you're following through is the point of the tracking sheet. And if it's not a tracking sheet for you, then something, so that you have data, that you have tangible, unbiased metrics to assess yourself with.
Yeah. And in step number 6, we're getting closer to the end here. Boo-hoo. But in step number 6 here, we want to make sure that we are building sustainable momentum, right? And one of my favorite activities to do is the weekly CEO check-in. Sometimes people really, really take the employee title or the role very, very seriously. And what that does is it sort of like you're giving the control too much to your company or to your manager, to your employer. And what I like to tell people to do is like become the CEO of your career, right? Think like a CEO. What would a CEO do in this situation? And so a CEO in this situation would do like a 10-minute Friday ritual to review the wins, recalibrate, celebrate yourself. Okay. So, and as you're doing this, you want to ask yourself these 3 things. What worked this week? What needs adjusting? And what am I proud of? Right? If you can reflect on those 3 things as you're moving, as you're moving through the week, but also like as you get to the Friday, then you can build a plan for how you're going to tackle the next week. Right? So reflection equals integration. Consistency comes from conscious course correction, not perfection. That's so important. It's, we're not asking anyone to be perfect, and we don't care for that. Like, we don't, you should have seen the way I looked this morning. I almost said to myself, you know what, at this point, let's just do it. Cause like nobody care. Like, we don't care. Nobody, like no one should care for perfection. And this is coming from a Virgo who is a recovering perfectionist. Okay. We just want progression. Did you want to add anything to that, Mia?
No, that quote is everything, right? Because if you're just doing, you're just kind of like moving like a fart in the wind, but you want to actually know what's behind it. And then exactly like these reflection questions, it takes you into it versus just doing it.
Exactly.
Back to the why.
Exactly. And then good times take time and repetition, right? Oh, look at that. No one loses 20 pounds at the gym in one session. Hello.
Sorry, Sasha.
I know, right? I wish.
I tried. It didn't work.
I remember a time in high school when all I had to do was like, not eat candy all day, and I lost like 10 pounds. Where are those times? So life will mess things up, right? Like, stick with it. Like, don't like, what I've learned this year very much about myself is that I used to quit so early on. Like the first time it didn't work, I was like, okay, I'm done. This is not for me. And I realized that resilience and like doing things over and over again, that's what's going to get you your results, right? Being consistent, right? And your energy will falter, like I'm a manifesting generator, which means that I can start the heck out of something. I can get something moving. I can start a company. I can do all of that. But then like 3 months in, I see my energy dipping because I
Mhm.
go too fast. I go too hard. So if you're a manifesting generator, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Stick with it. Just take a day or two for rest, and just get back on the bandwagon. You will judge. I can't see this. Is like,
Yeah.
oh, you will judge yourself.
You will.
Stick with it as well. Oh, I just realized that all the bullet points for these is stick with it. I love it.
Yeah.
Stick with it. That's the moral of the story for this slide. Just stick with it. Be consistent. Be okay with mess up, screw ups, whatever. It's gonna happen. Actually, budget that in. Just like you would budget tips and taxes.
Yeah.
Budget in the mess ups. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything to that, Mia?
Just like the Napoleon Hill's 3 feet from gold, right? Like if you stop digging, there's beautiful visualizations of this, of a man digging a tunnel, say for miles, and then he just gets tired and he stops when he's 3 feet from gold. If you stop digging, you never get to find out. Like, finish the book, keep going. Your story is always evolving. You're always evolving. That's why it's just stick with it. You're already enough. Now you're playing to see what you can make possible for yourself and others in your lifetime.
Yep. And take the time to rest. Life is not a race, it's a masterpiece, right? Like we said, it's no one cares about, there's no reward. I mean, there's rewards for being successful, but like there's no rewards for getting it done first. Like, no one's sitting there. This is not the Olympics, right? So rest is an investment, just like anything else, right? That you would, put money into, or you would put time into. Rest is an investment in the energy you need to be effective tomorrow. Be uncomfortable with rest until it is a new norm. Yeah. Back growing up, my mom used to say to me, like, if I took a nap during the day, or if I woke up any minute past like 7 o'clock, I was considered lazy. And that really affected the way that I carried myself. Like, I couldn't take rest. Rest didn't feel, I was never comfortable just sitting on the couch and like just unwinding from something. So yeah. I'm going to move on to the next slide.
Yeah. So clearly come hang out with Sasha and I. This will help you normalize and implement all of the incredible tools. But, you are, what is it? You are the person of the 5 people you hang out with the most. That's that circle of influence. So who are you hanging out with? Are they... Now, I'm going to separate this into 2 because this is very much my life. I have my ride or die Wolfpack friends that have been in my life for 30 plus years. They're phenomenal, and I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But I've also created a phenomenal, invaluable community of online business owners, entrepreneurs, and women that I also could not survive my entrepreneurial journey without. So I have like these 2 components of community and friendship and making ambitious accountability buddies and problem-solving buddies, like a mastermind group where we support each other in the journey. And it's very complementary because it serves my, hey, I didn't even mean to do this, my work life and my home life. And so these communities help me stay fulfilled, help me stay encouraged, because, the so-called friend group is there with the hard times. The business group is there with the hard times, and they just are serving slightly different pieces of my heart to keep me sustained and sticking with it, right? Because a big piece of my message in my coaching practice too is that we're not, if you're an entrepreneur, you're not here to solopreneur. We're going to collaborapreneur, which is exactly what Nate and Sharon have created in the EmpowerMe Hub, is a forum to really come together and have this type of accountability and community, and from people that understand, because they are in a similar place in their journey. That's the difference, right? If you go on a date and you don't have chemistry, it's because you guys are not experiencing similar things that connect you. And if you want to continue to foster these practices and improvements, you need to be with other people. If there's anything, Sasha, like, I mean, the slide's there, right? You communicate your needs. You're going to seek help, which means being vulnerable, which means creating safety in yourself. You're going to collaborate with others, which is such a, like, collaborapreneur. I'll say it again. We don't solopreneur, we collaborapreneur. There is enough to work on your business, yourself, your career with others. We want to be in collaboration, not in competition. And then creating agreements together, creating ways to celebrate. Like Sasha and I were celebrating a huge win for her that maybe she can't celebrate with the friend that she's going to go for a walk with later, hypothetically or not, right?
Yeah.
And so, and if she wasn't going to celebrate it, well, I was going to force myself on her to celebrate.
You were the
Right?
first person I reached out to for that. You're the first person I was like, I need to tell Mia this.
Right? You need to have those people, exactly, because when you feel that call, it's moving through you. It has to go to someone in this case to hold that space with you.
Yeah,
That's the accountability.
and
Yeah.
sorry to cut you
No.
off, Mia, but like one of the more important things, and this is I'm gonna get a little tiny vulnerable here, is I I suffer from depression on and off, like seasonal depression, and so I remember joining this group of women that battle through this type of thing, and one of the things that we all decided, the group, the culture of the group is like we celebrated effort, not just outcomes, right? So the fact that someone like was able to just get up out of bed, even if they were out of bed for 2 minutes, that was like a huge deal for us. If they were to brush their teeth that day, we celebrated that, because it's so hard when you're depressed, right? Like to be able to do like and groom yourself, like, so be in a group where effort is celebrated just as hard as the outcomes are. Okay. And that's what I love about the EmpowerMe Hub too, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Yeah. And some additional slides, some additional tips that we have for you is, set boundaries, but not just boundaries for others, boundaries for yourself. So, people think boundaries are to keep others out, but it's also to keep yourself, honest and disciplined, right? Communicate effectively, delegate tasks as much as you need to. Like, don't be ashamed. Like, if you have a little extra money every week, don't be ashamed to hire that nanny, or don't be ashamed to hire the cleaning lady. Don't be ashamed to hire help. Okay. Embrace and plan for flexibility. Like I said, budget in those, like, screw ups. And that way you're not, so if you're a Virgo like me, like it's hard for you to deal with like things falling on the wayside, but I'm recovering from that. Schedule time for reflection. That's very important. Prioritize meaningful connections by scheduling dedicated time, engaging mindfully, and showing appreciation. That's super, super important. Showing appreciation for those that pour into you, like my Mia yesterday when I gave her my good news, and she absolutely made a huge party. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next slide unless you want to add anything.
I think we're there. I think this is the last one.
Oh, look at that.
What a joy. What an absolute joy to have both of you here and part of the hub. I don't know how you would have each met if it weren't for the hub.
Right?
That in and of itself is absolutely a reason to join and master those life lessons. And you two are a prime example of how to go about mastering life's lessons and learning with community, with others, getting the support that you need. That's a holistic support. So it's all about the whole human being, not just the worker or the mom or the coach or what have you. It's holistic, and making sure that we all can support the other people that we have and hold dear and dear in our hearts, we need to have the energy to do that. We need to have the capacity. So building those habits and taking it in bite-sized pieces, really, really critical to doing that. And so thank you for that advice. And in the hub, we also make it interactive and fun, as demonstrated on today's call with the two of you. I can't imagine a more fun conversation. That has just been absolutely fabulous. Plus, clear pathways and goals with some workbooks and some sheets to help you work ahead with it, and then accountability and support along the way. Sharing your experiences with others, but key in all of this is you are in control. You're in control of your life and your experience and your happiness. Um, Others can pressure you, or you can feel the pressure that's coming at you. It's up to you, it's your choice. If you don't feel the pressure, you don't get to experience that. So it's how you choose to respond. And the missing piece for most of us is how to make this last, how to make it sustainable. So consistency is key. Having the support to not go it alone, find a community to help guide you. The hub is a fabulous community for that. That's why we created it in the first place. Um, Actually, we created it because we needed the support of others. So we created a place and space where we could get that, because we're expending our energy so much on helping so many people achieve success in their life and their career and so on. But we need support too. So we have a go-to community, and we help to make it last through integrated toolkits and approaches, to make that lasting change continue to happen on a regular basis. So the EmpowerMe Hub will provide for you a step-by-step roadmap, will provide a supportive community, and integrated whole human expert coaching and resources like those of Sasha and Mia here today. You can find them on the hub. They will be uh, joining in on conversations, discussions, and they will be accessible, as will all of our other experts who have their own area of brilliance that they like to shine out in terms of shining their light. This is what it looks like. This is our community. It's on a separate platform. Um, so it's not Facebook and it's not LinkedIn. It's in a separate platform. It's designed specifically to enable that support and communication and collaboration. And we have a ton of different areas for you to go to, the calendar of events, where you can see what's coming up and you can join in and participate where and when you can. We also have a classroom and a whole series of classrooms that you can go into that cover everything that you two have talked about today: physical, emotional, and mental well being, as well as self leadership, team leadership, work life. Um, you know, all of this comes as a package because we, each of us, is a complete package.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
sustain that complete package
Yeah.
and make sure that we achieve the success that we're looking to achieve. So you can join our free 7-day free trial, join the Empower, and then join the Empower Me Quest as one of your first activities in the hub that will actually guide you through in a 7-day cycle, guide you through what you guys have just talked about, the wheel of life, the assessment, and it will guide you through your values and discovering those values and to work towards what it's going to take in terms of creating a roadmap for your success on the key elements that are missing the most in your life. And you can then adjust it to the next key elements and the next ones and the next one. And it will guide you to some of these brilliant speakers who have the expertise that you're seeking, so that you can leverage the hub faster, easier, more convenient to you and your life and where you're going with it. So, um, when you click the link, it will be provided for you. You will get to this page and you just click on start your free trial and away you go. And we look forward to seeing you there in the hub with us, joining us and having fun with us.
Yes, because that's what you're going to do with Mia and I. That's for sure.
Just a quick one for each of you. What is the most important element of the hub that has energized each of you in your lives and careers?
Oh, for me, for sure, like meeting new people and collaborating with people. And even myself as a coach, right? Like, I love the fact, like I was telling Sabine yesterday, which is your partner in crime. Um, I was telling her yesterday, I was like, I love the fact that like right now I've been 5 years divorced, and it would be nice like to be able to talk to people in the same group that I can talk to someone about, spirituality and
Mhm.
breath work. And it's
Mhm.
such like an all encompassing group, like really whole human. And,
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to be seeking like some relationship, how to date in this modern world because it's crazy out here. But yeah, I love that about the EmpowerMe Hub.
Cool.
There are
And
love
Mia?
experts in the hub. Okay, Sasha.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
some
definitely taking
relationship coaches in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of twofold for me because I'm a systems girl, and so I love seeing how it's being built is phenomenal, and it really shows the power and ease of using a platform like School if you want to create a membership. It's so well organized, it's so well put together,
Mhm,
curated, and thoughtful. So all of that sort of back end stuff is
mhm,
really sexy to me. And
mhm.
then Sabine and Sharon, such incredible contacts to have. But the way that you guys are leading this is a true collaboration where we're all actively um, participating in and helping grow this ecosystem, which is phenomenal. So it's not
Yep.
a place where a member is just going to come in and take. A member is going to come in and contribute and,
Yes.
add to the fertilization or whatever, add to the garden to continue to grow it. And then just the community that's being created, the people that I'm meeting, the opportunities, all of that are not something that I could do by myself.
Awesome.
100% not.
And you're
Yep.
right. Contribution is fulfillment. And if you want to seek fulfillment, come and join us in the hub. We will help you along the way and help to support you to actually achieve it. So
Mhm.
thank you so much, ladies. I will talk to you over there in the hub and I'll see all you new members in as well and welcome you there. So take
Bye,
care and
everyone.
have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.